And we continue our election coverage for 2016 with a candidate for the new constituency, the vasty constituency of Arbory, Castletown and Malew. Richard McAleer, 46, married, an accountant. He's chairman of Castletown Commissioners, an independent candidate. As chairman of Castletown, good morning, first of all. Good morning to you. As chairman of Castletown Commissioners and in the commission since 2012, are you not likely to be Castletown-centric if you win this seat?
I don't think so. I think there's big issues around the south that need looking at, and it's not just Castletown. Ballasalla, there's the proposed enterprise zone there, which could bring in a lot of business and a lot of money into the area.
But Castletown is the crux, is it not? If Castletown flourishes, won't the surrounding area? And at the moment, Castletown is not flourishing.
No, it's not flourishing, but I also think the surrounding areas have got a big part to play in that, especially with the airport and the business parks that could come in there, because that provides footfall for Castletown, Ballasalla and the surrounding villages.
What would you like to see happen at Callow's Yard?
That's a tough question.
It is, but it needs answering, doesn't it?
It does need answering.
And it's not been answered to date.
No, it hasn't. And I think the end result possibly may be that it needs to be sold, but that's a decision for Mr. Tilliard.
But someone has to sort it out, and you've been on the commission, you've been a chairman of the commissioners. Why hasn't it been sorted out? We've had this report, the Martin Sewell report, which came out with a lot of suggestions. Why hasn't something been done? Why haven't heads been banged together and something happened? Well, I mean, as an MHK, presumably, you'd be expected to do something about it.
Well, when it first opened in 2009, it was a good place to go. It was lots of nice little shops. But over time, they've closed down, people have moved away.
Well, we know what it is at the moment, but the thing is, how does it work?
But it's not just an issue in Castletown, it's an issue around the whole UK. High streets aren't flourishing, and how do you attract businesses in places that aren't flourishing?
That's for you to answer, is it not?
It is.
Especially if you're an MHK.
It is, yes.
You say MHKs will have to work harder than ever. And come up with creative solutions to resolve the many issues. Do you have a creative solution to the pensions legacy issue?
Well, that is a long, historic issue, and I was a civil servant myself back in the early 2000s, and I don't know how you're going to solve it, to be honest. Interest rates...
But the new House will have to solve it.
Yeah, interest rates would help. If they were increased, that would help the investments. They're going to have to find ways of increasing the money going into the pot from the people who are actually paying in, like the MLCs, the MHKs and the civil servants.
This is the creative solutions you were talking about. Have you worked out the creative solution there?
I think the MHKs in particular have to pay more in.
Housing through the constituency. Where should housing be built that would satisfy demand but not basically annoy people?
Well, we had a call for sites last year and we identified about 20 sites around the town. And there's been a lot said on social media.
These are brownfield sites.
Brownfield sites, and people are putting them forward as potential housing sites. And one of the most contentious ones is at the back of Castle Rushen High School. But most of that is in the parish of Malew, so I don't think that's a starter anyway.
They're going to build a new school, obviously, at Castle Rushen as well.
They've got permission for that, and they've got room in Castletown for that.
I see there's a 4-acre residential site up for sale in Colby. Colby's spreading a bit, isn't it? But the locals, on the seaward side, the locals are saying, hang about, there's too much expansion there.
I think that there is room for expansion there too, but then you've got the issues of flooding, and that area in particular, opposite the Colby Glen, does flood.
That's what I was going to talk to you about, that area in particular, what do you do about that flooding, and also on the coastal flooding that's happening. Castletown is under threat.
It is under threat, and there are plans for a harbour wall, which...
on display in the Castletown
which may help stop it overtopping, but I think the main issue of the flooding in Castletown is coming up through the drains, so maybe the wall won't solve it entirely.
Yeah, but it needs to be solved because it really did bad things last time it happened, didn't it? And we're coming up to flood season again.
Yeah, it does, and I think one of the key things is that we dredge the harbour, dredge the rivers regularly, not just once every 20-odd years. There
are many things you want, including in-house nurse training as well, which we haven't got time to touch upon now, for this has been a very short interview. But Richard McAleer, thank you very much for joining us this morning.